Hello and welcome to another episode of the Read Brave Comics podcast from the Graphomania Podcast Network. I'm your host, Vinton Bain. As I'm recording this, it's Tuesday morning. The Spider-Man Homecoming Blu-ray just came out, and I went and picked up my copy. However, I found out that there isn't an audio commentary. Why do they do this to me? I was all excited to go buy the Steelbox Special Edition from Best Buy, but I'm not going to spend all that extra money if they're just going to re-release this movie in a year or two with more bonus features like audio commentaries, which it should come with naturally right at the beginning. This should never have to wait for it to come out in a different release for that. I'm looking at you, Force Awakens. So I opted for the cheapest Blu-ray option, which does have all the special features of any other option, so I didn't care for 4K. I don't have a way to watch a 3D movie, so cheapest as it was. It does have all the Captain America PSAs, so that's something. Whatever. I'm not mad. I'm going to go listen to my Baby Driver commentary when I'm done here. Dumb Spider-Man. Anyways, it's time for comic news this week. This week, we got a new Mutants trailer, and this is a horror film, which we had heard, but the trailer really drives that home. It's supposed to be heavily based on the Demon Bear saga, but as a horror film, and possibly a trilogy, we learned. The director has said that this first film draws inspiration from New Mutants 18 through 31 and 35 through 38, as well as One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, the works of Stephen King, and Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors, which I find kind of fascinating, actually. He revealed that they brought it to Fox originally as a trilogy of films, all based on The Long Run by Sienkiewicz, and kind of incorporating later issues in the 80s. And he mentioned that he had planned on changing the horror genre with each film, with this one being a rubber reality type, which basically means that the characters in the film never know quite exactly what's reality and what's not. And then, of course, the other two being different kinds of horror movies. But, of course, he didn't say what genres of horror he was interested in making those. And at this point, we don't know if he still plans on taking his influence from those places that he had mentioned before. He certainly has some room to play in this story, especially with him not having introduced Warlock, and there could be an Inferno story added in. There's a lot to do here. I mean, the Warlock's backstory could be tweaked into a horror story, and Inferno, obviously could be made into horror. So we'll see what happens there. My favorite thing about the trailer is the Lockheed stuffed animal. That's a nice little nod there. I don't think we're going to get actual Lockheed, unfortunately. It'd be really awesome if we did, though. I'd also really like some yellow and black costumes, but I'm 99% sure that's not going to happen. Anyways, this is all still unfolding. Everyone's has really strong opinions about this trailer. I'm definitely willing to see it play out and see what happens here. I'm not getting angry about it. And Demon Bear Saga is one of my favorite things. New Mutants is one of my favorite comics. I'm looking forward to this, even though it is a really weird way to tell this story. On the subject of new trailers, we also got a new Black Panther trailer. Not quite as adrenaline-inducing as the teaser was. I absolutely love the teaser, though. The trailer is very good, but I guess my expectations were kind of through the roof from that teaser. I still think this will end up within my top 3 MCU films, though. I'm very, very excited about it. T'Challa's character in Civil War really blew me away, and I'm looking forward to this whole movie for sure. We did get to see more of how amazing Wakanda is looking, and we saw the mystical plane, which gave a very heavy Lion King vibe. Speaking of vibes, we saw Claw's sound weapon prosthetic, so that's cool. It looks like there's going to be multiple Panthers in this film as well. Killmonger has his own suit, and there's a hint that Shuri, T'Challa's sister, possibly might suit up. We'll see. Just a hint. So Thor Ragnarok is coming out pretty soon, and at the premiere, Mark Ruffalo accidentally leaked the first 15 minutes or so, from what I've heard, of the audio, having a live feed going on as he was walking into the theater, and people were supposed to turn in their phones, but I guess I'm not sure if Ruffalo was supposed to, but he should have at least turned his live feed off, and he apparently forgot through the first 15 or so minutes. So that was a fun thing. Marvel's been tight-lipped with a bunch of things recently. They still haven't even released the Comic-Con Infinity War trailer to the public. Still haven't told us when Punisher is coming out. So they're good at keeping their secrets. And Ruffalo's over here just letting them all go. He's really becoming another Tom Holland, who was also famous for being loose-lipped with Marvel secrets to the point where they wouldn't give him a script for Infinity Wars. And he tweeted and teased Ruffalo about this, saying, "Hey, now that Ruffalo's the one doing all the leaking, can I get my script, please?" Mark Ruffalo is definitely worth following on Twitter. This guy loves his fans. He's a great guy. There was a photo shoot for Infinity Wars that they were doing, and he started live feed from that for his, I think it was directly on Twitter. It might have been from a different platform, but it was also posted on Twitter. And he was doing a video and showing Vin Diesel talking about how he wanted to do a movie with Groot and Samuel L. Jackson, and showing everybody. And then they started going, "You're not supposed to be filming in here. You're not supposed to be doing this. You're going to get in trouble." And he was like, "Oh, I guess I got to go. Bye, everybody." And that's just a typical thing for Ruffalo. He's a really awesome guy, really loves his fans, and it's a great way to get some little inside information. I'm not one that really is always looking for the smallest bits of information for an upcoming movie, but I do like to see the personalities of the people playing the characters I love in the movies being really awesome like that. Jumping to a different category of comic book movie, we are getting our Professor Marston and the Wonder Woman. It's kind of like a biopic of the creator of Wonder Woman and his life. I haven't seen this yet, but it's in theaters right now. And as it came out, the creator of Wonder Woman's granddaughter posted on Twitter saying, "This film is not a true story. It is based on someone's imagination, not in any way related to my family. We completely reject any claims made in the film and in no way support this work of fiction. And by the way, the true story is much more interesting." So I can't make a claim one way or the other. I've heard that it's gotten okay reviews. I was really interested in seeing it. This kind of bums me out, but I'll wait till some friends of mine see it, possibly Sarah Cade, and see what she thinks, and then I'll see if I want to see it or not. So moving away from comic book movies, let's jump into some quick comic news. The Excalibur X-Men team, created by Chris Claremont and Alan Davis in 1987, is returning with January's X-Men Gold Annual. I'm very, very excited about this. Fans of this team have been wondering for a while whatever happened to them. And now we're finally going to get a hint of that. There's a promise, a tease, I should say, of some new Braddock Bundle of Joys. So it sounds like there's a new baby in the mix. And I know that January is a long way to wait, but I'm very, very excited for this, and I couldn't help but announce it right away. We also got a little bit of news on the Storm series that I talked about being rumored last time on the podcast. It looks like this is actually going to be happening. The series was confirmed by Inquirer journalist Don Follick on Twitter, who said that Coates had told her about the series in a yet-to-be-published interview, and Coates seemingly confirmed the report by retweeting this statement with a comment saying, "Bright Lady." There's no further details, but it looks like we have it confirmed there will be a Storm comic, and I am very, very excited. One cool piece of comic book news that I saw online recently is that comic book sales are up 6% in the bookstore market in the past 12 months. And 37% of those sales are women. So that's really cool to see the diversity of comic fandom growing that way. And from what I read, comic sales are actually up 15% over the past 3 years, making it one of the highest growth categories in the trade book marketplace. So it's an exciting time to be a comic book fan. There's more and more people to talk about it with every day. We got an interesting bit of news about Daredevil recently. Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin, racked up favor in New York City during Secret Empire and seems to be cashing it in for a position as mayor as Daredevil returns to legacy numbering in number 595. I really wish I was caught up with Daredevil because this sounds like a lot of fun. It sounds really interesting. I want to see where this comic is going. I've heard that the newest run has been amazing, but I just finished the Bendis run from the early 2000s, and I'm in the middle of the Brubaker run. Both of those are absolutely fantastic. I recommend them so highly, but I still have so much to go until I'm caught up. We got a bit of exciting Swamp Thing news as well. There's a Swamp Thing Winter Special #1 coming out this winter, and it has a posthumous WEIN story, probably his last story that he's ever written for Swamp Thing, unless they find some files somewhere that we never knew about. It's also going to feature work by Tom King, so I'll definitely be picking this up because I love Swamp Thing, I love WEIN, and I love Tom King. This sounds like a winner again. Not until sometime later this winter, but something exciting. Also out today was Batman vs. Two-Face, the second animated feature from the Batman 66 universe, the final performance of Adam West as Batman. Also, William Shatner plays Two-Face, so yeah. Time for comics that I enjoyed from last week. Defenders number 6. I talked about just briefly saying that Deadpool was showing up, and he does show up, just not as much as you would expect. But when he does, he's wearing a Netflix sweatshirt, so that was worth it. Hulk number 11 was a weird, fun issue. They brought back the fourth wall breaking from the 80s She-Hulk, and this issue heavily featured Hellcat, which was delightful. Next month, she will be returning to her original She-Hulk title with legacy numbering at number 159 with a new artist, but Tamaki still writing. X-Men Blue number 13 continues this Mojoverse X-Men Gold crossover. This issue had a lot of really fun moments, some really great dialogue, and the return of one of my favorite X-Men characters from back in the day. But I don't want to spoil that, so I'm not going to say anymore. Runaways number 2 by Rainbow Rowell was very exposition heavy, but that's not Rowell's fault. She has a lot to explain from the Runaways history, and I'm super excited for this title and really need to go back and reread that original run. I keep saying that. I haven't had time. We're going to be covering it on the Excelsior podcast sometime soon, so I need to get on that. And I recommend that all of you do as well. My definite pick for this week, however, was Spider-Man returning to legacy number 789, which had Peter Parker crashing on Bobby Morse's couch, and that brought me life. I really like the dynamic between Spider-Man and Mockingbird, and here with him on the couch, he's wearing a shirt that obviously doesn't fit him. It's obviously a girl cut shirt, her shirt, that says, "Ask me about my feminist agenda," as he looks like he hasn't left the couch in about a week. Just a complete mess around him and her giving him a hard time. And there's some really delightful panels here. I don't want to ruin all the jokes, but it's fantastic. Maybe the best issue of Spider-Man I've read in, well, maybe ever. It's a big claim. The only question is, can they keep growing and developing the character of Peter Parker while going back to basics now that he's lost his company, he's lost his money? Of course, he's having to deal with that, but can they keep moving the character forward when they keep reverting him back? Of course, this is what we want from Spider-Man Peter Parker, is to see him trying to be this ordinary, everyday character rather than a Tony Stark billionaire type. That's what's always made the character really relatable. But it'll be a bit of a test to see if they can do this without running the same ground over and over again. Now, time for comics I'm looking forward to this week. Thor is returning to legacy numbering with number 700. It's a big issue, and I really need to catch up with this series because I loved Unworthy Thor and the first volume with Jane as Thor, and I have no excuse for being so far behind. None at all, except for I have no time for anything. Also coming out this week is Deadpool versus Old Man Logan, and I think this is absolutely silly. But I did read the teaser for the first few pages, and I think I'm going to try to check it out because those are pretty good pages. It really only showed like one quick scene of Old Man Logan getting crushed by things and yelling at Deadpool, but it intrigued me. So if I can possibly find the time, I'll probably check out this issue. We'll see. X-Men Gold 14 continues the Mojo Worldwide Part 3. This is going to feature the Brood Saga and the Dark Phoenix Saga, so that should be exciting, should be interesting. It's been fun so far, a lot more fun than I thought it would be, less gimmicky and more well done, actually. Secret Warriors number 7 also comes out this week. This is where Quake is finally going to come face to face with her mentor's killer, Deadpool. I'm not sure what the future plans are for this comic after Secret Empire. I would have thought that it was going to wrap up then, but it looks like they are trying to keep it around, keep it going. I've really enjoyed this so far, and I'm really interested for what's to come. I really enjoyed Matthew Rosenberg writing it, so as long as he's on it, I'm interested to see them continuing it for sure. Even though Secret Empire is over and it doesn't really make a lot of sense to continue it. I guess Aftermath stuff. Yeah, that always seems to be the case. Lots of Aftermath stuff after an event. Just see how long we can pull the Aftermath stuff. Anyways, hopefully they'll find a new direction to take the title in, and it'll be a lot of fun. Also out this week, Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man number 5. And I'd talk about what's supposed to happen in this issue, tease it a little bit, but it doesn't really matter. Chip Zdarsky and Adam Kubert are killing it, and I'm excited no matter what. One issue that I'm really worried about is Invincible Iron Man number 593, returning to legacy numbering here. I loved Riri Williams at the helm of Invincible Iron Man, And I don't really care for Tony coming back and taking over again. Although I did love his run on Invincible Iron Man just before Riri was introduced. But Riri has become my favorite Iron Man. She's far surpassed anything I ever cared about Stark, and I hope that she still gets her dues and gets to continue on being a major player in the Marvel Universe. We're also getting Champions number 13, Worlds Collide Part 2 with the Avengers. That first issue was a lot of fun on the Avengers side. I'm interested to see what they do with it on the Champions side. Finally, I want to talk about Batman number 33, A Dream of Me, Part 1. Following his marriage proposal to Catwoman, Batman leaves Gotham City on a quest of renewal and redemption. They released a few pages as a teaser already, and we see Batman and Catwoman riding horseback through a desert. Batman is wearing a duster and goggles, bearing a shotgun, heavily reminiscent of the dream sequence from Batman v Superman. This could be very, very interesting. That was a really cool look, so I'm glad to see them putting it over in the comic book. As long as they don't pull anything else from that movie, that would be great. Please don't do that. Sorry if you're a fan of that movie. I'm not. And I think that's going to do it. I know I said I was going to head out of here and watch the Baby Driver commentary, but who am I kidding? I'm probably just going to go watch Spider-Man Homecoming in its entirety once or twice. I do love that movie. If you would like to get into contact with the Read Brave Comics podcast, you can hit us up on Twitter at read_brave, on Instagram at readbravecomics, email us at contact@graphocast.com, or personally, I'd love to talk comics with you on Twitter at FleshEater. If you would like to support the Graphomania Podcast Network, and specifically this show, check out patreon.com/graphocast and get some extra goodies for doing so. Please remember to leave a rating and a review on iTunes, and I will see you next time, true believers. Stupid no audio commentary having Spider-Man Homecoming Blu-ray. This has been a Graphomania production. If you would like to hear more podcasts, go to graphocast.com, graphocast.com. Follow us on Twitter at Graphocast and like the Graphomania page on Facebook for news and updates.